The silver price is now nearing $40 an ounce. That's the highest price we've seen since 2011. That's huge because 2011 was its previous all-time high, and people have been waiting for a return of this all-time high. So what's next for the silver industry, the entire mining industry? What are some of the key developments going forward that investors need to be aware of right now? We're going to be talking with industry leaders and executives on the ground who can give us inside insight. Our next guest is one such executive. He is Joaquin Marias, CEO of Argenta Silver, and he'll be giving us his outlook on the entire silver industry as well as key developments from his company so that we can learn more about how silver companies adapt to changing macroeconomic and silver price environments. This is a sponsored interview. Do your own due diligence. This video is not financial advice. I'll be attending the Beaver Creek Precious Metals Summit in Colorado in 2 weeks. September 9th to 12th are the conference dates. I'll be speaking with more industry leaders to get insights on what is next for gold and silver and precious metals and base metals and the mining industries. We've got a great lineup of speakers, including Frank Justra, who is a mining mogul, one of the investors of Argenta Silver. So you'll want to stay tuned for this conference, September 9th to 12th. I'll be in Beaver Creek. See you there virtually. Now, back to the interview with Joaquin. Joaquin, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on the show. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Lynn. It's a pleasure for me.
$39.50 an ounce. That's the latest silver price on my screen as of the 29th of August. That is a high we haven't seen since 2012. It's an extraordinary time for the industry. It's an extraordinary time for the metal and investors alike. How is the silver industry adapting to these new all-time highs? I say new all-time high, assuming we haven't counted January 2012. Otherwise, it's a 13-year high.
Yeah, it's this is crazy times. I think that we are doing really great, and when you start thinking about how the market is behaving, it's impressive. And I think that it's not that much about how the market is behaving. It's how we are going to cover in the future the deficit in between supply and demand, right? I'm actually just coming back from Argentina. I was in Argentina last week. And I was in the project and I was discussing that with one of the geologists that imagine that you need to mine at least 5 LKVARs per year to fulfill that gap in between supply and demand. So the deficit that we are going to face, David, I think that it's going to be huge. And that's probably one of the most important drivers on the price of silver.
What about financing and raising money? Is it now an opportune time for companies to finance developments, projects? Do developments and financing get affected by the price or not so much?
Look, it's clear for us that if you have a good project, if you're in the right market, if you're in the right moment, and you have the right backers, then raising money, it's not going to be an issue. At this moment, we have a treasury of 24 million Canadian dollars. That's because we raised money, or actually it was a bought deal that came to our table recently. So, closing this bought deal for us has been very, very good. We closed the bought deal for $15 million. And to that, we ended up adding $2.5 million from the pro rata right from our largest shareholder, who is Eduardo Elstein. So when you ask me if price is one of the drivers, I would say yes, it's one of the drivers. It's not the only one. It's one of the many drivers that it's making now an opportunity for companies to raise money in the market. So it's a combination of things. I think that we are in a really good position. We have a really good asset with a very very nice base of 50 million ounces combined in between inferred and indicated for the resource, and all the potential for exploration. And as I said, we have 2 great backers. One of them it's Frank Justra, and the other one it's Eduardo Elstein, 2 billionaires that are very well aware of what's the mining industry. And well, the price of silver and gold, it's helping us a lot as well.
In terms of developments and updates, why don't we start with what Argenta Silver is? Give us a scale or sense of the scale of the deposit, where you're operating in the world, and the key opportunities in that jurisdiction. Basically, just introduce the company to the audience first, and then we'll talk about your latest developments.
Amazing. So Argenta Silver, it's a company that was created in October last year. So it's not even been 1 year of life for the company. It's a very, very recent company. It was created in the guts of the Fiore group. And it was created because I identified an opportunity, and this opportunity is located in Argentina. The opportunity is called El Quevar, and this is a very rare thing. It's a pure silver play located in the north of Argentina. And this asset was in hands of a previous company that kept the asset dormant for over 10 years. So for 10 years, nobody was doing anything there. And this asset is the third largest undeveloped silver asset in the country, and it's a pure silver asset with a spectacular grade. So El Quevar, it's a project that has 45.3 million ounces of silver at 482 grams per ton on the indicated category, and 4.1 million ounces of silver at 417 grams per ton of silver on the inferred category. So combined, let's say that we have almost 50 million ounces of silver, from where 90% are indicated, and that is putting us in a very good position for resource expansion. But then we acquire this project for a very small price, and we have all the infrastructure in place, from roads, railroads, a gas pipeline, a camp, and many other things that are making this a unique opportunity. That it's also helping us for the other portion of the story, which is the exploration of new targets. Only 3% of the property has been thoroughly explored, and the remaining, it's still there. So we are going to be addressing this project in two ways. One, it's the resource expansion portion, and the other one, it's the discovery of new targets or new things in the property. The potential is huge. It's been lying there for 10 years. We grabbed it, as I said, last October. And actually, Beaver Creek, it's coming very soon. On Beaver Creek, it was the time when we were starting to raise the money to create Argenta Silver. So it's a spectacular journey, and we are very happy so far with the outcomes.
Let's talk about why Argenta Silver is unique. There's a lot of mining companies, a lot of developments and projects happening in South America. It is a very rich jurisdiction when it comes to the geology and veins available. But why Argenta Silver, and not one of the many other companies operating in the region?
Okay, Argenta Silver has a particularity, as I told you, David. This is a pure silver play. So when you see our analytics, right, on our webpage, you can go and look at our analytics, and you will see that it's pure silver. There is no gold, no copper, no lead, no zinc. It's a pure silver play. So we have all the leverage from silver. We were talking about silver markets, how good they are performing, how fast they can grow up. Well, we have all the leverage from silver. When you see other companies, they will have some other components inside. They will have lead or they will have zinc, and these elements, they don't perform as well as silver. So we get all the leverage from silver on first place. And on the second place is what I just mentioned about infrastructure. I don't know about other projects with all the amount of infrastructure that we have in place. When you think about that, building a railroad is extremely expensive. Building a gas pipeline is extremely expensive. We have a camp for 100 people. And then we have over 60 kilometers of internal roads that are there in place. So putting all this in perspective, are millions and millions of dollars, in the order of the hundreds of millions of dollars, that we do not need to put into the project for future development. They are there, laying down there, and everything is usable. I mean, it's very useful. The train goes once per week towards the region, and the railroad, it's at 3 kilometers from camp, right? The road, it's going to be 75% paved. So all this infrastructure, it's also a plus that many other companies don't have. And when you think about the immense property, it's a 57,000 hectare property. only 1% has been thoroughly drilled, and only 3% of the property has been thoroughly explored. So there is 97% of the ground that we need to walk. And this is a fantastic thing on geological terms. I don't want to get too technical here, David, but for the audience to understand, we are sitting on top of a volcanic complex. And a volcanic complex, it's a place where one volcano came on top of the other, and they built this massive volcanic complex. So it means that there are pulses of hydrothermal activity coming into place. And that's where the potential, it's been, growth one on top of the other. So we need to get out, we need to keep exploring. And I think that what's make us unique now in the market and probably in the region.
Okay, Joaquin, let's take a look at your presentation, starting with your first slide now. This is your company timeline for the share price. And let's just begin with September and October 2024. And as you can see through this slide, the company shares have gained roughly 300% since that time. Over that period of time, silver has moved up about 50%. So maybe explain the leverage and why the company significantly outperformed silver.
Perfect. So as I was telling you, we created this company in October last year. So you can see on the left side of the screen that we started with a share price of 15 cents. That's when we did the private placement and we raised the $15 million that helped us to build this company. So since then, as you can see, we were working pretty much silently, let's put it that way, until January, because we were preparing everything on place at site and building this company. And in January is when we commenced exploration, January 2025. So as I said, this is a very new company. And you can see how we start to build this up very organically. In April 28th, I was appointed CEO. And that's when I start to put a lot of changes and created a really strong team here to start moving things forward. And since then, the company has been growing really fast. So if you take from October last year up to August this year, there is 300% in organic growth. So this is happening in less than a year. The other thing, if you allow me to show, David, is this curve. This is a very important curve. This is showing how our market cap has been growing up in connection with our share price, right? So as I said, we created this company with $15 million in the bank. And from there, we start building this up. And we have up to now multiplied by 10 the market cap of this company. Today, we are sitting on a company that it's approximately 150 million Canadian dollars in market cap. And you can see that pretty much the push or the growth came with the first batch of results that we put out on July 21st this year out in market. Then we put a second batch of drill results on August 13. That was the latest push. And in between both of those, the bot deal happened. And with that, we incorporated or brought into the company $17.5 million into our treasury. The last image that I want to show you is this chart here. And you can see the curve down below. And that's the amount of money that we have put into work or that we have spent for this. So we started very, very small, just doing expenses to build up the company. And in January, when we started exploration, we start pouring more money into Argentina and into the team. And you can see here that from the 1st of January up to June 31st, we have spent around 4 million Canadian dollars, and the market cap was of 70 million. But if you think about that date when we started exploration up to now, we have spent approximately 5.5 million Canadian dollars, and the value that we have put here for the company, it's immense. So this is a company that we are creating superb value at a very low cost. So we are committed on putting every dollar into the ground and maximizing that
What
dollar from the investment into value for the shareholders. So I think that that's what I should show from my presentation, and I want the future investors to keep this in mind, that we are maximizing the investment to create something very, very valuable. Of course, that the market is helping. Of course, that the silver price is helping. Of course, that the deposit is helping. But I think that it's the team and the management that it's adding most of this value into place.
can you tell us how much cash the company currently has on the balance sheet and what you plan to do with this cash reserve going forward?
Yes, so we have in our treasury 24 million Canadian dollars. The strategy here is to invest that money in the next season, which is going to be a much more ambitious season than the one that we had. We need to remember that it's summer on the northern hemisphere and it's winter on the southern hemisphere. So we have been drilling 4,000 meters in the middle of the winter with very, very challenging conditions. Our team has been doing a spectacular job down there. As you can see, these results that are coming out from the ground are spectacular, and that's why we are building this value into the company. But what it's coming, it's our summer season, the summer season that it's 2025, 2026. It's going to span in between October to April. We plan to drill in between 12,000 to 15,000 meters. We will be addressing the targets, as I was telling you before. 40% or half of that, it's going to go into resource expansion, and most of the money, or 60%, let's call it, will go into new discoveries or exploration for different targets that we have even identified with a lot of potential. So this dual approach will help us to build up a very, very solid company, because we are drilling on the resource, we can expand the resource, and at the same time, we will be able to discover new things.
What's the timeline for resource exploration?
So the resource expansion, or probably what you want to ask me, David, it's when are we going to update this resource? And I think that if that's the question, we will be drilling the
Yes.
resource in most of the voids that we have found. So when I'm talking about voids, it means that the resource itself, it has gaps. We have proven with this drilling program that we are just about to finish, we have proven that those gaps are not mineralization gaps. We have proven that those gaps are drilling gaps. So we have drilling there, and we have found that there is mineralization in between those voids. So what's going to be the timing for the next resource update? Well, it will depend mostly on the outcomes from this season and probably the next winter. But I think that we are doing a great job on identifying those gaps and drilling in there. The other important things to mention is that we have drilled step outs in this drilling program from the winter. Those step outs have been successful, as well as the drilling in between those voids. So we are proving that there is more potential for the resource to grow. Hopefully, we will have a resource update by increasing ounces at least on 25% of the existing ounces that we have currently in the deposit.
What's the 5-year plan for the company here? Going forward, are you planning to ultimately take the company into production, or do you think you're better off partnering with a company through a JV to produce? Perhaps you're looking to sell off the assets. Ultimately, what is, your vision? What would be a dream scenario for you, Joaquin?
Okay, you made a very good question at last, David, and that question was, what's my vision? So if you ask me what is going to happen to us, well, I have no idea. I don't know if somebody else in the market is thinking to acquire us or not. I can't think about those. But what I can tell you is what's my vision here. And my vision here is to build a great company, to build up this deposit. And I think that we are sitting on a very, very rich portion of ground, and nobody has untapped the potential that this ground has. So there is where my vision lies, or there is where my vision is at this moment on the potential from this rich portion of Earth. I think that if we explore properly, if we expand the resource properly, if we go and look for new things, we can make this a very, very big thing. And nobody knows, David, if there is another deposit next to the existing one. The fluids have come up, and this is what people have been drilling, but nobody knows if there is another branch coming sideways. Nobody has been drilling there. Nobody has been exploring properly this. And that's my vision. My vision is to go out, to look for more, and to make this bigger, 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 bigger. I wake up every morning thinking about 250 million ounces of silver. And I think that it might be doable. So that's where my vision is. We will see what happens in the future if some company will acquire us. The opportunities are out there. We are still looking for new opportunities in Latin America. It's really hard to find something like El Kivar, but our focus now it's pretty much on this project and to making it bigger.
You say that you've built over $150 million worth of value. Now, tell us who the backers are of this company, the major investors, the major shareholders.
So our major shareholders are two gentlemen. These are very, very well-known businessmen. These businessmen are one from Argentina and the other from Canada. So let's start on the Canadian one. He's Frank Justra. I work here in the Führer Group with Frank. I have been working for the last 4 years with the group and advising him and some other people here in the group. So working with Frank has been super, super valuable. Frank has an incredible vision about the market and about precious metals. And he is one of the founders of this company. So the foundations of this company, in part, are his own vision and his own dream of having a pure silver company. After a while, after a couple of months of creating this company, I met Eduardo Elstein, who is the largest shareholder at this moment of the company. And Eduardo Elstein, it's a very big businessman. He's a very agribusinessman, a very big real estate businessman from Argentina. And he has been investing in mining in South America, in Argentina, in Chile. He owns a silver mine, he owns a gold mine. So he knows very, very well the mining markets and the mining scenario. And he has been super supportive, that much that in the last bot deal, they decided to make use of their pro rata right. And that's why they came in with 2.5 million Canadian dollars. And I think that it's great to have these two visionaries working with us and supporting us so much. They are very active. They have a lot of input on this, and I'm very grateful to have them as major shareholders.
Tell us about your personal background, professional background leading up to Argenta Silver.
Okay, I'm a geologist, so I studied geology in Argentina, and I have been working with mostly international companies, mostly in private companies in Argentina on the exploration side and building companies in Argentina, advising and consulting to foreign companies coming into the country. I have been working in different countries, as I said, and the last country that I worked was in Canada. I have been working in northern BC and helping and advising the Führer Group as well for the last 4 years. And we came into this moment that we decided to build up Argenta Silver. And I was appointed as the VP of exploration for the company. Funny so, David, is that we spent a lot of time looking for a CEO. And I was advising that if we could find a good CEO, he would or she would have to have Spanish language, English language, knowledge about the markets, knowledge about the geology. It would have to be a person that could meet the people in the field, meet the people in the community, meet the people at government levels, He would have to be available for meetings and traveling around the world. And well, funny so, it was really hard to find that person, and it ended up that it was pretty much me. That's why I am the CEO of this company at this moment. I think that the position that has been appointed to me, it's very well reflected on the share price and the value that we have been creating and the team that I have put in place. I think that that's crucial. It's an honor to be working with the people that I'm working in Argentina and here in Canada. And as I said before, it's all about who is backing you up, who is working with you.
Going back to the two primary shareholders, this is a risk that some people have addressed for not just your company, but any small to mid cap resource stock that is primarily owned by a minority or a small number of shareholders, should I say. The risk is that if they sell the stock or liquidate, there's going to be a huge downward price movement. How would you as a CEO address this risk from investors?
Well, I think that dilution is in every company, and the risk of big shareholders leaving a company, it's always there. The matter is, okay, who is that people? Who are your backers? Who are your
Yes.
major shareholders, right? When you think about Frank Justra, when you think about Eduardo Estein, I mean, it's people that has short-term ideas, short-term vision, or is this people that has long-term vision, long-term ideas? Frank Justra has been waiting for 40 years to create a pure silver company. He has created many companies that have been very successful. This one, I think that it's something that it's coming from his heart. So Frank, it's there. He's very supportive. I talk to him very often, and he gives us great inputs. And the same is happening with Eduardo. Eduardo is a very long-term player. He has been for years working on the agri business, and he has been working for years on the real estate of Argentina. That's how he built the name and the growth and the potential that he has. So he's been in mining as well for a long time. Mining has been one of his first businesses, and the companies that he's in, well, he's been there for many years, and so far as I know, he hasn't left any one of those. So that's the question. Is this short-term vision people, or is this long-term vision people? And I think that for Eduardo and Frank is the second one. They are very long-term vision people.
Thank you very much, Joaquin. Let's leave on one final note. If somebody were to ask you, what's one key takeaway from Argenta Silver that I should be walking away with in any presentation or interview, what is that?
Well, I think that key points, bullet points. So the bullet points, David, are pure silver play. We have all the leverage from silver. We are located in a beautiful jurisdiction, which is the north of Argentina. No drug lords, no conflicts, no problems with the community. We have the government that is supporting us. On top of that, we have all the infrastructure, the railroad, the gas pipeline, everything that you can imagine to put this in production into the future. And on top of that, 97% of the project hasn't been explored at all. So the amount of potential that is out there is immense. I think that we have something very precious here, and our shareholders are backing us really well. And yeah, I think that those are the most important keys, right? No more from my side.
All right, Joaquin, thank you very much for your presentation and educating us about how the silver industry works from the inside. Tell us where we can learn more about Argenta Silver in the meantime before we have you on again.
Well, I suggest people to go into our website. Our website, it's full on media things. You can find there from maps to tables and other things. The presentation that we have is fantastic. There are some videos in there. So visit argentasilver.com. Follow us on social media so you stay tuned and you don't forget or miss actually anything that it's coming out. And see our YouTube videos. There you will find interviews like this one and many other ones that are in there. So yeah, stay tuned with us and don't miss the incoming news. There will be more coming up.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.